Yes, my people, it is your boy. Are we recording? Yes, we are. Yes, my people, it is your boy VRD back at you with another Train Sim Mode 5 video, part 2 of the London Victoria to Brighton route learning video. So, a bit of a change of plan here. What must have happened was, so I continued the recording, continuing on from part 1. The continuation of that was recorded down to Brighton. But for some reason, the recording ended up being corrupted. So I tried to go into Share Factory and edit it. It just wouldn't let me render the footage, and the colors and the sound, it was all messed up. I don't know what happened. So I now have to re-record the section between Gatwick Airport and Brighton Station, which is slightly irritating, but it's not the end of the world. So we're going to be taking command of the 1358 service to Brighton, calling at Haywards Heath, Burgess Hill, Hassocks, and finally Brighton. So slightly different calling pattern to what we had before. We're no longer going to be stopping at Preston Park, and we are going to be stopping at Haywards Heath. We weren't scheduled to stop at Haywards Heath on the Gatwick Express service. Here's the train coming in now. Different train as well. It's a class 377 Electro Star. So this is what we were driving on the journey up from Brighton to London. Same amount of carriages though. It's another 8 carriage. So that is at least it's got something in common with the other train. I'm not gonna bother calling out what I'm doing in regards to setting up the train because I did all that in part 1 up at London Victoria, so it's just a waste of energy doing that again. Let's just pop outside, ensure that everything is being displayed correctly. Yep, that is all good. Also gonna get our windows open just so we can have the nice sound of the wind rushing by. And that is that. So we've now got a bit of a wait until our scheduled departure time. So I'm gonna edit down the video and I will catch you guys in a bit. Right, my people, so we are coming up on 30 seconds prior to our scheduled departure time. We're gonna be getting the doors closed at 30 seconds prior to the scheduled departure time, which is now. Oh, always check your signal. So got a green signal, doors closed, driver reminder, appliance reset. And we are departing from platform 7 this time. At the end of part 1 we had pulled into platform 5, but in part 2 we're departing from platform 7. So we've got a slight difference in the speed limit. Not really going to affect us because we are pulling away from a standstill, but just so you can take note of it, speed limit going through platform 7, like I said at the end of part 1, is 60 miles an hour, increasing to 70 miles an hour at the end of the platform, and then shortly after that going back up to 90 miles an hour, which is the ruling speed limit. So the speed limit is now 70. Always remember that the increase in speed limit takes place once the full length of your train is clear of the threshold. So at this trailing point here, you can see the little 90 board down there. Once the rear of our train is clear of that, speed limit will be increasing back up to 90 miles an hour. And then obviously if you had been departing from platform 5 or passing through platform 5 or whatever, speed limit would just be at 90 the entire way through. Next station is Haywards Heath in 10 miles time. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Right, so we are now passing through Three Bridges Station. We are not scheduled to stop here. On the left and the right is the Thameslink depot, home of the class 700 Zero cities. We do have those in Train Sim World, not on this route though. I am planning on doing a couple of videos driving those. They are quite nice trains to drive. So we are coming up on 90 miles an hour. However, we do have a decrease in the speed limit down to 80 miles an hour. So what I'm going to do is shut off the power. Wait for it. Here. Now. So that was after you pass the Thameslink depot. So you pass through three bridges, pass by the Thameslink depot. Tiny right hand bend, tiny left hand bend. As you come off the left hand bend, shut off your power. And providing you're traveling at 90 miles an hour, gravity is going to bring your speed down because we're on an upward gradient at the moment. Gravity is going to bring your speed down for the upcoming 80 mile an hour speed limit. So 83, 82, 81. Ooh, okay. 80, okay. So a bit too quick with it, but not the end of the world. 1 mile an hour above the speed limit is honestly not a big deal. So speed limit is now 80 miles an hour. This is Balcombe Tunnel that we are passing through. And around the area where the speed limit dropped down to 80 miles an hour was Balcombe Tunnel Junction. Balcombe Tunnel Junction marks the point where the slow lines merge onto the fast lines. So it goes from a quad track layout to a double track layout or dual track layout. And we're going to be running dual track for the rest of the way down to Brighton station. Speed limit goes back up to 90 miles an hour just at this signal here. Very hard to make out, but there was a 90 board attached to the gantry holding up those two signals. So now going back into full power. Gonna accelerate up to about 87 or 88 miles an hour, and then I'll shut off the power once again because we are now traveling on a downward gradient. So the summit for that climb was around, I think it's in the tunnel. I'm not too sure, to be honest. We're just gonna assume it's inside the tunnel, but we're now traveling on a downhill gradient once again. This is Balcombe Tunnel. This is Balcombe Station that we're passing through. So up to 87 miles an hour, shut off the power once again, and just gonna let gravity do its thing. .3 miles to go until Haywards Heath Station. This is the Balcombe Viaduct that we are passing over, also known as the Ouse Valley Viaduct. Very magnificent structure. Head on to Google Images if you want to see what it looks like, because I will not be going on to the external view for nobody. But yeah, just Google it, type in Balcombe Viaduct, you'll see what it looks like. It's a very, very impressive structure. These Victorians, they do not play. The Victorians were not playing when it came to the construction, I'll tell you about that. Right, I can see in the distance a double yellow signal, so as we pass that, I am going to make a brake step 2 application. That tells us that in 2 signal spacings time we can expect a red signal. This specific signal just so happens to be 2 signal spacings out from Haywards Heath Station, so I can expect a red signal at the end of the platform at Haywards Heath. So got the brake step 2 application in. Once we get down to about 60, I'll reduce it to brake step 1. This right hand bend here, had I had not, oh, the grammar was not grammar in there. If I did not receive the double yellow signal aspect, then this right hand bend here would be the standard brake location for Haywards Heath Station, braking point, however you want to word it. But because I did get the double yellow signal a bit further out, we always prioritize the signals, so we're gonna have a slower than normal entry speed into Haywards Heath Station, aiming for about 20 miles an hour on entry into the platform. But if we were not running under yellow signals, then it would be a 30 mile an hour entry speed. So the single yellow signal that we passed not too far back there, that's just reinforcing the fact that we can expect a red signal at the end of the platform here at Haywards Heath. So slow down to 20 miles an hour, releasing the brakes, and then I'll go back into brake step 1 on entry into the platform here. Very sluggish approach. Maybe maybe don't be so cautious the way I'm being, but I'm just trying to be overly perfect with the video because I really don't want to embarrass myself. My standards are high, okay? My standards are high. Right, so the 8 carriage stopping position is about 3/4 of the way along the platform. You can see it coming up now, 5 to 8 carriages. Just jumping on and off with the brakes, which isn't the best thing to be doing. But there we go, stopped. Brake step 3, neutral. We have a red signal at the end of the platform, so we set our driver reminder appliance, door release on the left. And we have a bit of a wait here at Haywards Heath, so once again gonna edit down the video and I will catch you guys 30 seconds before departure time. Right, my people, signal has cleared to a green aspect. We are 27, 28, 29, 30 seconds prior to our scheduled departure time. Let's get those doors closed. Also reset the driver reminder appliance. Yep, doors are closed, door interlock lights illuminated, no one trapped in the doors. Forward, we're on a downward gradient departing from Haywards Heath, so no need for the whole start button. Straight into notch 2 of power, 5 miles an hour full power. Speed limit 90 miles an hour departing Haywards Heath. Next station is Burgess Hill, 3.7 miles time. So since passing through Walkham Tunnel, we have been traveling on a shallow downward gradient. However, we are going to soon reach the value for the downward gradient and it will revert back to an upward gradient. So it's not crucial information, but it is worth taking note of. So I think it's around here. You can literally see the difference in the track. You can see the track up ahead valuing out and becoming an upward gradient. So the gradient display at the top of the screen should soon change to indicate that we are now traveling uphill, which it is now done. So we're now up at 90 miles an hour as well. So I'm going to shut the power off. I didn't actually notice. I literally saw it at the last minute. It was about to exceed the speed limit once again. Twice in one video is very problematic. This is Wivelsfield station that we are coming up on. This is the station before Burgess Hill, and it is quite close to Burgess Hill. So as you enter the platform at Wivelsfield, get your brake step 2 application in. Burgess Hill station is about 3/4 of a mile down the line from Wivelsfield. So yeah, just make your brake application as you enter Wivelsfield. If you intend on stopping at Burgess Hill, reduced it down to brake step 1 at around 60 miles an hour once again. Very solid technique when it comes to slowing down in one of these Electro Star trains. Again, aiming for that 30 mile an hour entry speed. 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30. Releasing the brakes momentarily because we're a bit of a way out of the platform. Entry into the platform, so back into brake step 1. Might need to give it a burst of brake step 2. Seem to be coming up on the 8 carriage stopping position a bit too quickly. Back down to brake step 1. There's the stop board coming up there. Brake step 2. Quick burst of brake step 3. There we go. Brake step 3, neutral, door release on the left. You'll notice that I always try to come to a stand in brake step 1. Coming to a stand in anything above brake step 1 is going to be very uncomfortable. Obviously not in the game, but in real life. Yeah. It's that in a car, and imagine you're driving a car and then when you come to a stand, you like ease off the brake pedal a bit. You don't stamp on the brake pedal as you come to a stand because you're gonna jolt. Same applies in a train. Right, 30 seconds prior to the scheduled departure time. Get those doors closed. On a bit of an upward gradient, however, it's not a severe upward gradient, so I don't think we need the whole start button. Yeah, you can see we managed to pull off there without rolling back, so that is all good. Next station is Hassocks. Now Hassocks Station is tricky, very tricky. There isn't a lot of landmarks that you can use as a reference for a braking point. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna count signals. So this is the first signal after Burgess Hill, or this is what I refer to as the first signal after Burgess Hill. Some people might call that the platform starter signal, but I'm gonna refer to that as the first signal after Burgess Hill. So please keep that in mind. Now, if you were driving a train that wasn't scheduled to stop at Burgess Hill, but was scheduled to stop at Hassocks, you'd be passing through Burgess Hill at 90 miles an hour. So because of that, you would want to begin making your brake application for Hassocks at this signal here, which is the second signal after Burgess Hill. However, if you're like us, you were scheduled to stop at Burgess Hill and you're accelerating out of Burgess Hill station, you want to begin making your brake application at the third signal after Burgess Hill station. I can appreciate that as a lot to take in, but just rewind the video. So this is the third signal coming up now. So I'm shutting off the power. I tend to give it a few seconds after passing the signal before getting the brakes in. If I apply the brakes right at the signal, I tend to come in a bit too slowly. So give it a couple seconds after passing the signal. Get your brake step 2 application in. Reduce it down to brake step 1. You can see the platforms for Hassock Station coming up now. Aiming for that 30 mph entry speed. We're doing 32 mph, which is perfectly fine. It's hanging about in brake step 1 right now. Might need to up it to brake step 2 momentarily. We'll see how we get on in brake step 1. Can see the stopping board coming up now. In train sim world, the stopping boards at Hassock Station in the southbound direction are a bit messed up. The developers got the boards incorrect. I think this should say 3 to 8. Hold on, wait, let me show you guys. So this says 3 to 5, but that should say 3 to 8. There's no reason why that is unable to say 3 to 8, considering how close we are to the end of the platform. This is a 12 carriage platform, by the way, so this platform can accommodate 12 carriages, so I don't see why that says 3 to 5. You've obviously got the 12 carriage stop board there. I'm 95% certain this is meant to say 3 to 8, or even 3 to 10, to be honest, because it's that, why? But yeah, it says 3 to 5, but I just normally stop here. I don't see the issue. Once again, we are 30 seconds prior to our scheduled departure time. So getting those doors closed. Green signal. Always check the signal. I do check the signal subconsciously, but sometimes I forget to call it out, which is something I need to actually do, because then it highlights the importance of it for you guys, the viewers who might not be as experienced as me. Into forward, and we are on a 1 in 207 upward gradient, so I am going to use the whole start button, moving away here. Next and final station is Brighton Station, my people. Brighton Station. The speed limit is still 90 miles an hour. I'm telling you guys, 90 miles an hour is the ruling speed limit. Speed limit has been 90 miles an hour since Balcombe Tunnel Junction. Balcombe Tunnel. And it will be reducing down to 75 miles an hour in about 2.5 miles time. So we're coming up on Clayton Tunnel right now with this is the longest tunnel on the Brighton mainland, with its really terrifying castle structure on the northbound entrance. Sorry, the northern entrance. This is the southbound entrance, but it's on the northern side of the tunnel. Being a little kid seeing that, imagine being on a train as a little kid and seeing that you enter it. Yeah, that's probably terrifying. You think you're about to encounter all sorts of things. So just after exiting Clayton Tunnel, we once again summit the gradient, so the upward gradient becomes a downward gradient, and we are going to be on a downward gradient for the rest of the way into Brighton station. So we're not too far away from the point where the speed limit decreases from 90 to 75 miles an hour. I'm gonna shut off the power now at 88 miles an hour. This rather long left-hand bend, it's not too tight of a left-hand bend, but it's quite lengthy. What's the correct term for it? Is it sweeping or something? I think it's sweeping. This sweeping left-hand bend, at the end of this left-hand bend is where you want to get a brake step 1 application in to slow down for the 75 mile an hour speed limit. Again, providing that you're doing 90 miles an hour or near enough 90, getting a brake step 1 application in at the end of the left-hand bend, so this point here will bring your speed down for the 75 mile an hour speed limit on a very decent braking curve. You can see just there, if you were looking closely enough, we did have a warning board associated with the upcoming 75 mile an hour speed limit, but I just found that that is too close to the speed limit for my liking. Getting the brakes in a bit earlier will have you slow down for the 75 mile an hour speed limit on a comfier braking curve. This is Patram Tunnel that we're passing through. This is the final tunnel we will be passing through before reaching Brighton. Speed limit is now 75 as well, by the way. Speed limit went down to 75 miles an hour just before entering Patram Tunnel. We also passed beneath the A23, which is the main sort of artery between London and Brighton. And also keeping in mind that we are still traveling downhill, so maybe slow down to about 73 miles an hour as opposed to 75 miles an hour, just to give you that bit of breathing room, allow gravity to bring you back up towards 75 without accidentally exceeding the speed limit. This is Preston Park Station. The AWS warning that we just received is associated with a warning board. That warning board is associated with a reduction in the speed limit down to 40 miles an hour. And I am going to get the brakes in for that now. So shortly after passing through Preston Park Station, get a brake step 2 application in, and that should slow you down for the 40 mile an hour speed limit on a nice braking curve. You see we're down to 50, so reducing that down to brake step 1. Commencement of the 40 limit is just coming up now. You can see the 40 board there. I'm going to momentarily release the brakes, but not for too long, because we do have another reduction in the speed limit down to 25 miles an hour, and that will be the final speed limit change before entering Brighton station. We did also have a double yellow signal that we passed. This is now a single yellow signal that we are coming up on. This signal protects Brighton station, and you can see we have a number 4 indication in the sorry box at the top of the signal. That tells us that we are being routed into platform 4 at Brighton station. Speed limit is now 25 as well. Speed limit went down to 25, more or less at the same location as the signal that protects Brighton station. What I like to do here is actually slow down to 15 miles an hour just on this final stretch into Brighton station. And that is just because the points that we are going to pass across here, they have an extremely tight turning radius. But passing over these points at 25 miles an hour is recipe for a neck injury, if I'm being honest. So doing 15 miles an hour just seems to be a bit more logical, in my opinion. And I'm going to give it another burst of brake step 1 to have us below 10 miles an hour to ensure that we avoid tripping the TPWS grids. An additional burst of brake step 1 will ensure that we are down to 5 miles an hour, a carriage length away from the buffer stops. And from that point, it's just gradual, but sorry, I'm not even wording it correctly. Additional bursts of brake step 1 after that, just to come to a stand. You want to aim to stop with as the buffer stops disappear beneath the dashboard there. Perfect. Brake step 3, neutral. We're at a dead end, so we're going to set the driver reminder appliance. Door release on the right, so we're going to cross the cab and activate the door controls on this side. Get the windows closed. F and R switch into off. Master key off. Headlight switch off. Off! Thank you. Tail light switch can stay in the auto position. Automatic warning system isolation switch off. Isolated. Driver safety device isolation switch. Excuse me, I'm doing something. Driver safety device isolation switch off. Vigilance isolation switch off. Exit the cab. Close the door behind you. 2 tail lights being displayed, which is what we want to be seeing. And that, my people, concludes episode 2 of the route learning series. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Constructive feedback and criticism is more than welcome in the comment section below and is highly appreciated. And if you'd like to further support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. I will catch you guys in the next one. Love.